Thanks, Chair. I've raised a number of times over the last couple of weeks with the government and again with the Taoiseach today the issue of access to the vaccine on a global basis being absolutely critical to the effectiveness of the vaccine anywhere. If we don't have access provided to the vaccine to poorer countries, this potentially creates a huge hole in vaccine cover which will allow for mutations and then potentially undermine the efficacy of the vaccine. So we are literally all in it together. The report from Johns Hopkins Public Health School today that up to a quarter of the world's population, the poorest countries, may not have access to the vaccine until 2022 is a huge cause for alarm. Their report goes on to say that pricing issues are a problem, different attitudes indeed to, well, some are cooperating with poorer countries and with generic producers of vaccines in poorer countries, others are not. So what are we going to do about it? Now, People Before Profit have put down a motion. Unfortunately, we don't have private members' time, so it can't be taken until the new year, but we're appealing to the government to look at the motion that's on the order paper today, which is calling on them to raise within Europe the need to support the proposals from India and South Africa that aspects of the TRIPS in relation to intellectual property around the vaccines and vaccine technology would be waived, so that there is absolutely no sort of profit inhibitor on the distribution of the technologies that are necessary in order to produce the vaccine quickly, and that generic producers around the world would be able to produce it. And indeed, when you even hear Minister Donnelly talking about we'll have very low numbers of the vaccine here, maybe by the end of the year, and we're not quite sure when we're going to have the rest of the population vaccinated, you start to worry even about here. When are we going to get all these vaccines? I mean, we have huge pharmaceutical capacity in this country. Is there an issue in terms of us having access to the technology once it's available and the data, all of the data? So what I'm asking the government is to support the proposals being brought forward and to vote accordingly at the WTO and to raise this within the European Union, that all of those normal, essentially, mechanisms through which multinationals protect their profits and are allowed to do so with laws around intellectual property, patents and so on, should be waived. If we're serious about this all in it together, if we're serious about trying to eliminate COVID-19, this is an absolute must. And the government have to be very, very vocal and proactive about pursuing it. I do just want to raise one other issue, sort of COVID-related, but also has another dimension. And that is the issue of content moderators. I don't know if the Minister has been reading some of the articles in Sunday Business Post, and I've been in touch with some of the people who work, but not directly. They're not like the well-paid jobs in Instagram and Facebook. These are people who work for CPL and Accenture in very badly paid jobs, but doing an incredibly traumatic job, where they have to moderate vile content. Suicide and self-harm promotion, terrorist activities, abusive posts and videos and so on. In one report by Facebook, over I think it was a 3-month period, there was 1.3 million posts to do with promotion of self-harm and suicide. And there's people, human beings, have the job of trying to weed these things out. And many of them are suffering post-traumatic stress disorder and are having to sue Facebook and so on over this, which they did successfully. Now, something at a European level needs to be done about this and protecting those workers, making sure they have proper counselling support. But I'll tell you something else that I've discovered when I talk to these people. During the level 5 restrictions, over 1,000 of them were working in the office when they should have been working at home. And I believe out here on East Wall we had similar situations. Now then you ask yourself, how come the infection rates didn't go down so low? Because the level 5 injunction that if people could work from home, they should work from home, was actually not being enforced and not being respected in some of these big workplaces where there's over 1,000 people going in. That needs to be investigated.
Okay.